Good morning. This is Judy and Kyle here at Artistic Artifacts this morning for our Facebook Live. And we're having a conversation. Something about what's it like to be in a family business? What's it like to have me for his mom? Oh my God, lucky guy. But of course, we have a few announcements. So we have coming up, let's see, it's Labor Day. Wow. It's going to be a busy week right after that. We have a comment sold on Thursday evening. So what that is, it's a live sale on our app. If you go to the App Store, search Artistic Artifacts, you will come up with an app and be able to shop more quickly and efficiently. And we will have a live, which will be, again, a conversation. And this comment sold, live sale, is Judy's junk. So I am going through my studio. I have been a collector from, I don't know, my father says it's it goes back to multiple generations. So I come by it honestly. But we'll have some fun, mixed media, found objects, and that type of stuff for you to be able to buy. There will be a 20% discount at the for the first 24 hours of the sale. So that's the time to jump in and make sure. So if you missed the live, you can shop afterwards, still get the discount. Then we still have seats available for Seth Apter's lecture on Friday evening, the 8th. Starting, we will close the store for ticket holders only at 5 o'clock, have a special discount, and be able to have the lecture upstairs and have a conversation with Seth about his launch of his first fabric line. And because he's traditionally a paint and stamp and mixed media guy, so this is a new thing for him. So we'd love to have you come and join us. Free Spirit is the fabric line that produced Seth's art, and we are looking forward to that. So, Kyle, what are we doing today?
Well, I was volunteered, as I always am, to interview and ask questions about the business, family business, growing up in the business. Oh, you didn't plug the handmade market in October.
Oh, go ahead, you do it.
So the weekend of October 14th, so Friday the 13th and Saturday.
And Saturday.
Oh.
Friday the 13th.
That's a good day.
Yeah, okay, sure.
It's a good day.
Sure. We're having our handmade markets and Creative Quest.
And our Creative Quest,
Yes.
which will have demos and things like that. But the handmade market, we have many, many, many customers who create art for a living, and so we support them by having this market once a year. So yes, thank you. Save the date. It's really a fun time to come.
And we have some classes going on that weekend.
We
right?
have Leslie Riley's class going on Saturday, which I think there are still some seats left in that class.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Details online on the website.
Okay, then that's the last one.
All right, that's the last announcement. See, there I always forget one. So the idea was to request questions from the audience, and you can ask questions about Kyle.
No.
You can ask questions about me and the business. It's kind of, when I go to do a lecture, I talk a little bit about the evolution, how I got here, and, people seem interested. So it was an opportunity to ask those questions that maybe you've not had an opportunity to. So and we did have some people.
Yeah, we had a few people. I've got 5 here, but you're welcome to put them in the chat if you want. We'll get to them as best we can. I know there were a few more. We just didn't get around to them. So I'm sorry if you sent it in and it's not asked.
You can type it in there, so it's okay.
Just retell us.
So so I grew up in a family business also. My parents had a business. They traveled a lot overseas, here. So I kind of grew up with an entrepreneur father. I worked with my father for a number of years, and the content was cars. It was auto accessories. He raced for a number of years. My mother was very involved in the business as well. So it was just a constant part of our lives. It was never my father's intention. It was never my intention to become part of the Electrodyne Racing Dynamics family group business, but we my brother and my sister ended up there, and boy did my sister swear she was not working. she had a whole nother career in the government and budgeting and all that kind of stuff, and then 3 fabulous kids came along. So that I grew up with it all the time. Therefore, Kyle kind of had it from infancy.
Yeah, I was practically raised in this building.
Yep, we brought our kid to work if we had to come to work. Yep, we have stories and pictures of kids lying underneath desks or having a bassinet somewhere.
Definitely running around the warehouse. Sorry, OSHA. Terrorizing the warehouse workers, asking them to build me box forts.
Yep, we did have box forts. That's right. So that's kind of how our business, our family has always occurred. And my husband was not raised in an entrepreneurial family, but he was dragged along with us and did well. And it got down to the automotive industry was changing. It was Dave and I, and we really didn't know how to keep our heads afloat. And so we had a conversation with my father, and my father's passion built his business. So he said to me, change the box. So what that said was change it to my passion, which is art and fabric and textiles. And so that's what we started doing. While I was still working with the family businesses, I started Artistic Artifacts as mostly mixed media, and we started a website in 2007. Way back when. 2007. Website.
Yeah. And if you've been following us since then, you've known that we only changed the website like 2 years ago.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. It's well, consistency.
But it's going to change again.
And it's going to change again. So that happened, and we thought, the web was really, that was very early on. People were going to be excited about the web and all that other kind of stuff, and they were like, okay, they didn't come. You build it, they didn't come. So I decided, okay, well, I need to do some shows. So I started doing shows, and I had some friends that, Ruth Chandler, Liz Kettle, that did a lot of traveling with me. Chris Vin inherited those positions when those guys left me.
Refused to do
it anymore. We were doing wholesale shows. We were doing retail shows. Mm-hmm. So 2007, 2008, 2009. How old were you then? I can't do the math.
2009 would have been my freshman year of high school.
Okay, yeah, so because it's kind of started it in middle
13,
school, and I can remember being in high school.
Yeah, you traveled a lot in middle school. I think that was what it was.
Yes. Definitely in high school I was traveling.
Oh, yeah.
Julie's watching from Boston.
Julie's watching.
Hi, Julie. Yeah, how's the move going?
Yes. So I can remember, so Dave really had to hold down the fort. That was, he held down the fort. Kyle was kind of a squirrely teenager. Squirrely. I was nice, wasn't it?
That was nice.
It was
yeah,
a good way of putting
it was good.
Yeah, okay. So his dad.
Stacy is in from Europe.
Oh,
I think
Stacy,
she's
hi.
traveling right now.
Oh my gosh, she is.
It's been so amazing seeing the progression and expansion of the store from the first time I visited a flea market in the warehouse and a small shop.
Oh.
So proud of your entire team.
Oh, thank you, Stacy.
Oh, and Mom's there.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Grandma.
So I can remember getting pictures of prom with your prom dates. I got pictures.
Something like
I
that,
was never there for prom.
It was like homecoming.
Homecoming, maybe, I don't know. I just remember getting pictures. So,
okay.
So I was there, but really it was your dad and you holding down the fort at home.
Homecoming was probably Quilt Market and Quilt Festival.
Yeah, in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. I remember that.
I remember you moved out when I was in Houston. Chicken.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Wow, I had to think about that. Yeah.
Yep, you did. You moved out of the house.
Got a girlfriend and, decided to try being an adult. Bad experiment.
No,
but it worked out in the end.
You did fine. You did fine. All right. Okay, so let's get to questions that people want to know.
Oh, wait, they didn't want to know that? That was grade A material.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was. 2012 was the store, so that's when
It was really? Yeah, I thought it was earlier than that. Okay.
No, because I never wanted a store.
Oh, that's right.
I only wanted a website.
And now you only want the store, not to travel.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the store was half of this room.
The store was a couple of racks behind my desk.
I was going to say it was half of this room.
There were, on the right of where Chris is, where the counter is now, we had cubicles.
Where all the cafe is was where the offices were.
This is when we found Sharon.
Yes.
And the classroom was underneath the BERNINA sign in the back there.
Yep. We have pictures. So as
your mom said, you loan me Kyle every once in a while.
Yeah, I did.
Oh yeah, Mondays.
No, and you got to stay with Grandma and Grandpa when we traveled before the artistic artifacts. But yes.
Oh, and then Julie too. But she probably there's that whole squirrely thing that we.
Yeah, don't go back there.
Questions.
Okay. So. I got a few here. All right. So, compared to your original vision, what was the most surprising change your business made over time?
Everything. I really started it as a web business. I thought that was going to be the way. And then I evolved into a show business. We did shows at least 10 years. I would say anywhere from 10 to 14 shows a year, which is pretty grueling. So that was, and that it did a lot for us. It established our quality, it established us. It definitely was a way of reaching out to as many people as we could. And I just never really thought I would have a store. This space was kind of, we had race cars in here. The race cars were sold, and it was empty. And I had a couple of friends said, "Well, why don't you use this space?" I'm like, "Well, okay, let's see if I can ask my father."
Yeah.
So we the store, and now what do we have? 4,000 feet, 4,000 square feet, 6,000 square feet. I don't know. I'm not visual with that, but we have the whole first floor of the building plus warehouse, and the business has grown way beyond me. It started out as a little example of what my studio and my things I like. When I became a BERNINA dealer was when I went, okay, we're in for good now. This is real life. This is a business. What is that? 5 years ago? 5 years ago, we took on WonderFil, BERNINA. We had already had Batik Tembal.
I think we had WonderFil before that because we bring
it was all at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, because I kept hesitating. I kept going, is this viable? Can I make a living? Should it continue? Should I go get a real job? I mean, like, this is not a real job, but, that to me meant corporate world. Do I go get, which I didn't do really well in the corporate world. They don't like it when you talk back. So that's where you get it from. So that was kind of everything that has occurred with this business has been an incredible surprise every day, every year. Yeah.
I'll skip to the next question. I'll skip questions here. Hold on.
Well, I've got one while you're looking.
Okay.
Sure.
What's your best advice for someone starting a family business?
Get counseling.
Yeah. It's better than mine.
It is tough. Wow.
Yeah, no.
It is doable, and it is done every single day. The husband and wife, mother and father, small businesses are the backbone of the United States. That is the backbone of the economy. It is a really, really important sector. So I would say that the big thing is that you do not work 24/7. You do not 7 days a week. It's not a possibility, because I will tell you, you will crash and burn. And it's horrible. It's a really big hole to get back out of, because I was there. Try to talk about other things other than the business.
When you're at home.
And
at family gatherings.
We did not do that very well. Really, always be kind to your partner. You might get frustrated, like, well, you're in charge of this. Why is it not done? Nah, don't do that. Those are a couple of things that I can think of very quickly. Really, really, we are closed Sundays and Mondays. That is a non-negotiable situation, and that is for my sanity. I may work at home, I may do stuff 7 days a week, but I really, really try hard not to. My husband's very key right now in pulling me away, making plans. We're going to go do this. And so, I kind of count on him to do that. And he's more apt to do it. I would just keep working. So.
And we've seen that before. And yeah, that's not Magnum PI on the banner. That is my dad.
That's why I married him. He looked like Magnum PI.
There was a short time where you were working 7 days a week.
I was.
And that was
pretty hard.
Not fun to watch, to say it.
It probably wasn't fun to live with at all.
Okay, Kim. Kyle, another question.
Ask another question.
Or is this a counseling session?
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, someone's going to need to get hourly. This was kind of aimed towards me, but it ties into the first question. How did I feel when my mom was on the road in the early days, and how old was I when I first went on a business trip with her, and what do I remember most about the experience? As far as that goes, I think, it kind of, my dad and I like to butt heads a little bit. That was my fault. Squirrely teenager and all. So I, missed my mom a lot when I was growing up. You get older, and actually some of those things you don't remember. She was always there when she could be. Mm-hmm. So I never felt like, oh, she loves the business more than me or anything like that. It was actually really cool hearing about that, because especially growing up over the past, with these 15 years that you've been doing this, almost 20 years, I've run into people in random parts of life and talking, and one thing leads to another, and go, oh my gosh, you're Judy Gula's son? And I'm like, I did not know she was a celebrity.
I didn't know it either.
But when I worked, a lot of people know I worked restaurants for such a long time. I had people who would come in, and I was in Annandale, and they knew who she was. And they were like, oh, we love her, we buy from her, and we love the store. And I'm like, oh, this is a little surreal. But it was kind of cool to see that and see the reach and the impact.
We're getting lots of laughs.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I do have, I thought there was a question here about earliest.
Yeah, that was the one Chris asked you. What was your earliest recollection? Tell us the story you told us yesterday.
Oh, yeah. So, why did that tie into the first question?
This was when I was not in business. This was before. This was when I was trying to be, You were transitioning.
You were transitioning. You had been at the torpedo factory for some time, and you were transitioning.
Selling work, yes.
Yes, yeah, and I remember running around there as well. Lots of nice people. And so one day, she comes to me and says that we're going to do a show in the house, and I had to clean my room, which sucked. But I was asked to document the whole thing. I got my dad's little point and shoot icon, little rectangles. We all remember those. And I went around and I photographed everything. I think there was like 200 some pictures on there. And that's when I started photography. That's when I learned that I really liked that.
That was Miriam got me on the studio tour that was part of the Renwick program. So that was Miriam helping me to get into that. And we did set up a home show that was when I was selling my artwork. I had been selling it at the Torpedo Factory, and I think that was what it was, a home tour. So.
Yeah, and I think I was like 10 or 12, so I didn't really pay attention to the rest of it. There was just a bunch of people in our house, and they all liked your stuff. But it was really cool to see. We had a lot of people come.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Well, it was a bus. It was
a
bus of 60 people from the Renwick.
Was very confused. Yeah. But as far as that, I don't know if that doesn't really count as a business trip, but that would probably be like the first experience.
Well, I remember a business trip. It was when we went to Hershey, and you would come to the Hershey show with me. And he had to share a room with Barb Boatman and myself. he did not want to be there.
It was fun at the show.
But his mother was too cheap to give him his own room. So that was one. And you did shows at Hampton. You and your dad did Hampton Roads. Yeah. Did shows down there.
We did the one at Tennessee, and I had to park the trailer. That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
14 years old. We were trying to back the trailer.
You said 16, right?
It's Tennessee. I don't think it matters.
That was with your grandmother. That was when you came with your grandmother.
Grandma was still traveling with us.
Yeah. And you met Ken with Lalani Arts.
Thank you, Ken. I still have this.
Yeah. So you did travel with us when we could. In the summer, we would take you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think Dulles, whatever was at Dulles,
Chantilly, you did.
That was even during the school year, but I think I would just go for the weekend or something. Yeah. And then my dad, anything that was local, my dad and I were always there for the pack down and the setup and everything. So
okay.
But I think I would say like Hershey was probably the first one. You're right.
Okay, so I have a question for you because, like everybody else in the family, you always said you were not going to work at a family business.
Yep.
Guess where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
How did that happen?
Well, I mean, I was one of the first people here, so no, I think, I worked here on and off all through high school, and then we even ran the estate sales out of the warehouse. Makes sense that I don't like being a morning person, right? 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning for a high school kid. So did that, and then,
you went off and did your own thing.
I had to do my own thing. I was a tradesman for a little bit. I worked in a photo studio, and then I did restaurants, and I really liked hospitality. But, and a lot of people who know me on here, I've probably told the story too, but when the shutdown happened and everything, and with quarantine, it changed the business. And as much as I loved the people I was with and who I was working for, they're all great people, it just wasn't the same, and I, kind of lost a little bit. And there was some stuff at home. My girlfriend was a COVID nurse, and that was a huge impact. And can't thank everybody in the healthcare industry enough for what they went through during that time. But it changed my priorities, and coming here kind of allowed me to both work and balance everything at home a little bit better than that was. There's a little bit more of a flexible schedule. I could come in. I was mainly doing the photos and inventory and things like that when I first got here, so I could kind of, had a little bit more flexible hours, and kind of get back to doing photography because I hadn't done any photos or anything really that successful in years. So which was nice to kind of get back to that. But yeah, that's and then here I am, and now it's other duties as assigned.
You've got a comment that says never say never.
Never say never, exactly. Well, that's what...
You've got a couple questions here. How do you come up with new ideas? And that's probably for you, Judy.
Well, I have a fabulous team that works with me, and they make me look really good. So... we do come up with ideas. I'm kind of an idea person, but we also get together and come up with ideas as a group. There's a core group and everybody, we're on the floor, we're talking. Somebody says, well, what about this or what about that? So ideas is actually it just happens all the time. I've always tried to be different. I mean, it took us a long time before we got into shop hops. I always tried to be different from what we would consider a normal quilt store, fabric only, not paint, not mixed media and that kind of stuff. But it's always about education. What can we do to educate? But it really is a team effort. There is times I walk in and go, wow, let's try this, and because it just kind of happens. Your brain never stops. It just is always going. It's always looking. It's always thinking. We're here to support our customers, but we do have to make money to be able to continue to do that. So it's a balance of education and that. So what's the next question?
I still got a few.
Okay, keep going.
What's the weirdest things you did to promote the business along the way?
Hi.
Hi.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't have a clue on that one.
haven't made me stand outside with a sign yet.
No, not yet. It's still there. That's still option of that, the Geico thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Chris, can you think of anything?
I don't.
Weirdest.
I can't think of weird.
Yeah.
Strangest.
I mean, you don't do costumes.
No, I'm not a costume person.
Couldn't put me enough to do that.
Let's move on.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. What would you like to see happening at Artistic Artifacts 5 years from now? For instance, do you see the Creative Minds Summit expanding?
Okay, that's two questions. So, Creative Minds Summit. We tried that last year. It was a roaring success. We have an advantage of a really fabulous building and space that's available to us. So when other people do retreats or they do workshops or weekends or things, they go and rent a hotel and they go banquet room, all that other stuff. Because we have the facility and the space, we try to keep everything in this location. So that does limit to us to the number of teachers that we can have teach here. But we feel that the balance is you're in the store, you have that activity, you have the ability to run down and grab something if you need it in the middle of the class. So I don't know that we would leave this facility. I would think we would stay here. So growth is going to be a little bit limited. Now, the plan was to have different teachers every year. But we did have people request those same teachers back because they had difficulty choosing. So our expectation is the Creative Summit will sell out again with these teachers coming back. But going forward, we want to keep it in this facility, and the idea is to change the teachers. There's been such a drought of mixed media on the East Coast and learning and events and activities, and that's what we were trying to fill. It was that. 5 years from now, I would like to see myself not in the day-to-day running of the business. I would like to seek some kind of some kind of retirement situation, work from afar or whatever. And that was kind of why the travel tours started, was to pull me away from that and be able to do those. But I found that those are a little harder than I thought they were too. So what else do you got?
Well, you're still refining that. It's gotten better over the years. Yeah.
Especially when you start in the middle of the pandemic, at the start of the pandemic.
Okay, so the last one that I have is, how do you transition from creating for yourself to exhibits and entries, including overcoming the fear, learning how to display and mount works for entries and exhibits?
Okay.
Thank you, Nick.
Okay. So I did create and sell work for a number of years in a torpedo factory in a cooperative. So if you're familiar with the torpedo factory, there's individual studios and there are cooperatives. I felt that that was a lot of training as an artist, because when you're in a cooperative in a torpedo factory, each and every item is juried. So every time we had a show, which was every 4 to 6 weeks, you had to pull all your stuff out of the store, and then you had to submit new stuff. And you had a judge going, no, yes, no, yes. And they tried to tell you what was wrong with it. I mean, but could be design, it could be quality of parts, products, that type of thing. You want to produce something that with the best supplies that you can afford to buy, high quality, because you're putting your name on it and you're selling it. The other thing was, we were all in fabric, and we were in what was considered a traditionally fine arts studio. So we were competing for dollars with people who were doing paintings. So how do you take fabric art and put it on the wall? That is very much the beginning of the art quilting. And it'd been going on for a long time, but it was really more of a push to be equal to the fine art industry. So It's hard. You have people judging you all the time, and I don't like judgment, as anybody would. So I was told, if you submit a piece of work to 3 different shows and you get 3 different answers from the juror that they've been rejected, that's one thing. If you submit it and you get 3 of the same comments, you want to look at those comments that come back from the juror, and you can say, wow, they're right, I get it. I need to change what I'm doing. Or you can say, you know what, I like my piece the way it is. I just need to find another outlet. I do not submit work. I do submit to Sacred Threads because I believe in that that venue. I've never submitted to Houston. I mean, that's just not part of my business. My artist part is kind of on the shelf. I maybe get 1 or 2 really big pieces done a year, but that is not my priority. It's running the business. So that. Was there any other questions, Chris?
No, there's a few comments. Actually, and a few people, nice to see. Libby's watching. Laura Murray's watching. They like your shirt.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Is that from Indonesia?
It is, yes. Let me just...
And when are you going to Indonesia? Oh my God, that's gorgeous.
Isn't it neat?
I love this shirt.
Yeah. Indonesia trip is May 1st, so we do have an organized trip there, and there are a couple of rooms left. You can now. I know I promised you a long time ago.
I'm just. Yeah.
I know. So, but that you can email me at judy@artisticartifacts.com, and I can forward you to Isha, and she can give you the information about the trip. So that is May of next year. So May 1st.
And then there was a comment, it was really nice to see the pride that Judy has in her son and what he's contributing to the business.
Yep. I do. I like working with
Accepting
Kyle.
your child transition to adulthood is a joy.
That's a different topic of discussion.
No shit.
And then there's Kyle is great with customers, staff, everyone. He is a constant supporter. Judy couldn't have a better son to work in her business.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
That's from one of your coworkers.
Aww.
Oh, which one?
I'll tell you afterwards.
Oh, thanks, Jen.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Any closing comments, thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's not, obviously it's not just me. I wasn't here for a long time, and even now it's not, just me. Caitlin's here. She's awesome.
We have a great
anybody
team.
who's been to the store recently knows Caitlin.
And Barbara.
There are people who aren't here anymore who
Hi,
are just
Caitlin.
wonderful and have
Yeah, we have a great team. It's not just
and it's not just the people who work here, once a week kind of thing. We have awesome volunteers too. Carl and Martha.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Grandma when she comes to visit.
Grandma helped start this business.
Yeah,
Grandma helped.
Wouldn't be here without that.
She'd be like, "Really? Somebody's gonna pay money for this shit?" And I'd go, "Yeah, Mom, put the price on it." And she'd come up to me later, "Damn, if somebody didn't buy that."
I remember going to shows, and if Grandma wasn't there, everyone's like, "Where's Pat? Why didn't you bring your mother? Where's Pat? I need Pat." And that was just so funny. And then they had me as a consolation prize.
Yeah.
But I know one more question.
Yeah.
It was my question. What was the weirdest thing that happened to you when you traveled? If you can name just one.
I can't name just one. So I guess it goes back to that other question.
Just think of a few.
Yeah.
Okay. One time I have flown to market. I did not have a booth. I've flown to market, and they have this thing where you can buy fabric, and it's all in the, it's the only way you could get your hands on fabric before the collections came out. And how you make samples when you can't get the fabric is one thing. So my suitcase was at weight, and I had this carry-on, and it was really, really heavy. It was packed with all these fat quarter bundles, and they looked like bricks. So I, of course, get a new TSA person who has no idea what's going on, and she makes me unload the whole thing. And I'm like, "Oh, honey, there are a lot more people coming behind me that are going to have these things." And she made me unpack the whole thing because they were brick-like things. Oh, people in line were not happy. So that was one thing. Then there is the
How about bolts off the top of the car?
I don't remember that story.
Oh, so we had a line of fabric produced in Indonesia, some batik, and that was done. And so Chris and I are at Hershey, and we don't have a trailer. I have my Tahoe, and I have this goofy thing that goes on the top of the car. And so we're tired. I mean, you're just really exhausted, and we're throwing stuff up there. Chris is like, "Did you lock it?" "Yes, I locked it. Let's go." So I didn't lock it. So we had fabric bolts come off at the top of the car and go into the highway. And this was actually a really active part of coming from Hershey to Virginia. And Chris is like, "Just make sure it's locked and let's go." No, I have to go back and get the fabric. It was really stupid. So that was a weird thing that we did. That was crazy. So I did go back.
We sold the bolts as road tested.
And so that was it. And then there was a time we got flooded going to Houston. And then there was the time of I'm sleeping in the car and Chris goes, "Oh, something's wrong with the car. Something's wrong with the car truck." And I'm like, "I'm asleep. What do you mean?" And we got off the side of the road and we ran out of gas. So, that stuff happens.
At the middle of the intersection on I-10, on kind of the left lane,
Oh my gosh.
the car went completely dead.
Dead. Totally dead.
How we didn't get hit, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And that wonderful lady, that was awesome.
Yes, she did save us. That was really great.
Oh,
we were pretty tired.
Yeah. We'll tell you the rest of the story.
Yeah.
All right, so
I think there's people waiting at the door.
Yeah, there is waiting at the door. Sharon's like, time.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
We hope that you enjoyed it. I am, as I said, and I hope that you guys all know this, I have a fabulous team, including now my son. And they just make me look really great, and they're really wonderful to work with. So, and our customers have a lot to do with our success, and I appreciate very much them knowing that they need to support us to keep us around, and that is the greatest compliment. So, thank you for joining us. Have a very creative day, and we look forward to seeing you.